Folks, we welcome into the room the University of Pittsburgh. We've got our head coach, Pat Narduzzi, with us. He'll open up for about 90 seconds or so. Then we'll bring the kids up. Then we'll bring Coach back up for Q&A. So, Coach, all yours.
Good morning, everybody. It's great to be here in the great month of July 2017. And as we approach this great game of football and this new upcoming season in Pittsburgh, our guys are preparing hard. Dave Andrews, our strength coach, and his assistants are diligently getting these young men mentally and physically prepared for a grueling season of the ACC. I can't emphasize enough how important our summer conditioning is as we approach this August football camp and this important season. I think we're a little younger football team this year than we were a year ago. We lost quite a few guys. I think we had this class of 21 seniors a year ago and lost some great players that are on a lot of great NFL squads right now, fighting for position there. So the interesting thing will be, how our guys approach this season, not only mentally, but as far as physically, their leadership, the chemistry is important, and really, the competition for those spots that are open. And I think as a coach, it's always interesting to see how our guys compete and really what this 2017 team is going to look like. There'll be a lot of questions today about this or that position, the competition going on. But, we'll find at the end of August when we go into September 2nd really what our depth chart looks like, because there's still a lot of open holes and a lot of competition to go. So with that, I'll open it up for questions or bring these guys up.
We'll get your student athletes first, then we'll bring you back up. So, Avante, you're first. Brian was really happy that Avante was going first so that Brian could actually practice in watching Avante. So, Avante, we've got microphones throughout the room. We'll ask our first question down here to your right. First row.
Dan Tortora, wakeupcalldt.com. Avante, just going off of last season, obviously the adversity on defense, how you can use last season as a motivation for this year.
We can use it as a great motivation. I look at it as a learning lesson, a time where you can learn about short memory and how to grow as a team, how to go out and compete the next play no matter what happens. And I feel like we would be able to do that in 2017. I'm looking very forward to it.
Avante, we're going to go to the cameras in the very back to the left.
Hey, Avante. Mark Larson, Spectrum News, Syracuse, all the way over. Got me?
In the very back. There we go.
So, from Syracuse, and let's talk specifically about that game. You give up 61, but you guys win. What happened in that game? What's your prediction for the rematch at the Dome this year?
That was a basketball game. But no, I'm looking forward to that game. We'll be playing in Syracuse this 2017 season, and it should be pretty fun. I mean, we're not going to let them score 60 points this time, but we get in and watch the film, see what we have to do, make our corrections, and we make a better game of it.
Avante, to your right, second row.
Bob Holliday, WRL.com. Avante, most of last season, Pitt was impenetrable against the run, but really gave up a lot of yards through the air. Your thoughts about that and differences this year? Obviously, new players.
Obviously, we did give up a lot of yards through the air, but as a team, we all fight through adversity, and that's something we're working on in the back end, and I feel like we're getting it together now. And this year, our incoming year, and we're older back in the back end, and now that we see what we have to do to make no more mistakes as like we did last year, we'll be much better.
Any other questions for Avante? Avante, nice job. Thank you. Brian, you're up. Brian O'Neill will spend a couple minutes with us. Again, questions and answers. If you would, please stand and identify yourself and the agency that you're with. That would be great. Question for Brian? In the very back, we're going to go to the camera platform to the left, same place as Avante's question.
Hey, Brian, back here again. Mark Larson, Spectrum News, Syracuse. Yep. So your coach talked a little bit about the guys you're replacing, and when you replace guys like Peterman and James Conner, who is such an inspirational guy in the huddle, How difficult is that? How much will you miss hearing those two voices?
I think we're going to miss those two a lot. They did a lot of great things for our team, but one of the things they did really well for us is taught the younger guys how to lead. And they're the two best examples I've ever been around on how to lead other guys and how to incorporate everybody in everything we do and hold everybody accountable. Those are two of the biggest things we've tried to work on as a rising group of upperclassmen and leaders on the offense, is being able to lead by example and incorporate everybody, whether it's freshmen, sophomores, juniors, or seniors, and everything we do, and make everybody feel important, because that's two things those two guys did really well, and we all really appreciate them for that.
Hey, Brian, to your right, first row, back to Dan.
Brian, just to speak on your versatility going from the right side to the left as far as a tackle at this position for Pittsburgh, and then what you can say about some of the other guys on the line, how you would define this year's O-line in Pittsburgh.
I think we have a lot of guys who can do a lot of different things, guys who can play all over the place. All of our inside guys can play center, guard, right or left guard. I think I can play right tackle, left tackle. If there's a need for me at guard, I'll play there. And that's one of the things Coach Peterson has taught us really well, is versatility and how that's going to help us later in our careers, whether it's at Pitt or later down the road. But being able to play multiple positions is a byproduct of learning conceptually, and we learn our offense and our plays conceptually through whether it's different concepts, but not just knowing your position, but knowing what everyone else is doing. And having an increased knowledge base is really good for versatility and being able to play multiple positions.
Stay on that right side with Bob Holliday.
Brian, David Cutcliffe was in here previously, and he talked about how physical the Coastal Division is.
Right.
And I'm guessing he probably was thinking about Pitt as one of the teams when he mentioned the physicality of the Coastal. And when you think about Pitt, you think first about the offensive line that you guys dominated defenses last year. Talk about the mentality that you guys have on the offensive line. Obviously, you lost some tremendous players up there, but you still have more. What do you see up front this year from Pitt's O-line?
Right, yeah. Physicality is the hallmark of our program, and it's something we pride ourselves on. As an offensive line, we take it very personally that there's no group out there that's going to be more physical than us. And I think that's been the trend for the last couple of years, is if we hang our hats on that, good things are going to happen. And I think we still have a lot of guys left who are capable of doing that. We hear a lot about the two guys who left, and they did great things for us, and they're going to continue to do great things in their career. But we still got some horses left.
Brian, your last question will come to the left near the exit door in the green shirt.
Hey, Chad Floyd, SB Nation. You got to make some plays with the ball in your hand last year. How much fun is that as an offensive lineman, and does it help keep you engaged at all?
It's a lot of fun, and I owe a lot of thanks to our coaching staff for setting that up. But at the same time, I don't know if it keeps me engaged more so than it distracts me from the 70 other plays I have to worry about during a game. But it's fun. It's fun for our whole offense. I'm really thankful for the opportunity, but it's definitely a little bit of a distraction, worrying about something like that isn't going to come around a lot. But trying to focus on my primary job is what I should be doing when those things come around.
Brian, thank you. Levante, thanks. You guys are clear to go off to your next stop. Coach Narduzzi is back up, and he'll take questions here the next 15 minutes or so. Coach, our first question will come on the front row here. Back to Daniel, to your right.
Coach, obviously your focus is on forward, not looking backward at the players that you lost, which some of the guys mentioned. So to Max Brown and to what he can be for this team, and what you can say about the quarterback position heading into the fall as you move forward.
Well, overall, first of all, Sean Watson, our new quarterback coach, offensive coordinator, has done a great job of identifying the strengths and weaknesses of that quarterback group. I'm very, very happy with the depth that we have at that position. 2 years ago, when I first took over as a head coach at the University of Pittsburgh, that was not a healthy quarterback room. So the depth that we have in that room, from Max Brown to Ben DiNucci, who's gotten better every day, I think, through spring ball and through this summer as well, to Thomas McVitie, and then our new young incoming freshman Kenny Pickett. It's a good quarterback room. Sean's done an incredible job of being positive in there, and really just trying to make them better. I don't know if there is a better quarterback developer than Sean Watson. Okay, just in my 3 years there, when I watch development, I watch individual drills as a head football coach. The little things that he teaches in there are incredible. And again, the best I've seen in my 3 springs here as the head football coach. So I'm impressed with that. There's going to be a quarterback battle going on. I think coming out of spring ball, Max obviously transferred from University of Southern Cal, is a guy that was at the top, but he knows he's coming into this this fall camp with guys on their heels that they just didn't stand around and get worse during the summer. So they're all competing, and I think competition is great for everybody.
Coach, the camera stands in the very back to the left.
Syracuse
Coach,
guy.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
How are you?
I'm doing great.
I thought you were a defensive coach, but your team averaged like 41 points a game last year and scored 76 against Syracuse. So what's going on with that?
That's a great question. I kind of heard that one before. The first thing is we're focused on 2017, and we'll make no excuses for giving up points. A W is a W, okay? And I like wins, and I think we got the W. So that's the first thing and most important. I don't care about points scored against or for. Dino Babers is a great coach. Let's give him some respect. Obviously he does a great job with the tempo offense. I can sit here and give you excuses of why. I really don't want to hear them. This is 2017 that we're locked into, and we can talk personnel, we can talk this and that. It doesn't really matter. Was that your question? Did I give you an answer?
Why your team's so good on offense? Why you scored so many points?
What's that?
Why you guys scored so many points last year, 41, and do you expect the same kind of offensive production this year?
We'll find out. It's a different team. Every year's different. That's why I said we're going to find out what 2017, maybe we'll be this dominating defensive team and not score as many points. I've been around them all. Maybe we'll be a dominating special teams unit. So I think it's all, that's why we look forward to this season. That's why we're having these meetings today, to find out where we are. There'll be strengths and weaknesses to every football team. There'll be units that are stronger than others, and it's our job as coaches to make them better. So we'll find out. It's hard to surpass 41 points per game, period. And I did not bring Sean Watson in to say, hey, that's the bar. The bar is not set there. We're going to play better defense than we did a year ago. We may play better offense. Who knows? But those are all things that if we knew at this point, we'd be really special.
Coach, keep your attention towards the back. Camera stand just to the right.
Hey, Coach, Garrett Turner from WDBJ. You're renewing your rivalry last year with Penn State, playing at Penn State for the first time in quite a bit, 15 years. How do you feel about playing at Happy Valley and the underdog mentality that you're going to have to bring?
Yeah, we're definitely the underdog going into Happy Valley, and I've been there before. We've had good days and bad days in that stadium and against that football team. So I think our kids embrace that rivalry. It'll be an important week. As we get to it, obviously, the first and foremost is that opener on September 2nd, and we'll move on to that game. But anytime you have an interstate rivalry like that one, ACC versus the Big Ten, it's a big game, and we'll be ready.
Coach, we're going to slide to the right here in the second row, back to Bob Holliday.
Bob Holliday, WRL.com. Coach, your offense last year was so diverse. Power game, deep ball. If I remember correctly, I think it was the Clemson game, you scored 2 touchdown passes on a shovel pass. I don't think I've ever seen that before. Change of offensive coordinator, obviously. I'm sure the offense will look different, a lot different, little different. What do you think?
I'd say somewhere between a little and a lot. How about that? I think anytime you bring a new offensive coordinator in, and again, as a former defensive coordinator, I think if someone told me I had to change my defense, I can't run any other defense. I would be probably the worst coordinator in the country as opposed to, one of the better ones, hopefully. But so Sean's got to come in and do his thing. We try to keep the terminology similar as far as formations and all that. But he's got to put his twist on this offense. And I think the one thing that you have to keep in mind is, defenses in the offseason just didn't sit around and twiddle their thumbs during the summer. When you look at Northwestern, who had 30 days to prepare for us, they did a pretty good job. So you have to have answers. You have to have plays off of plays. So for us to walk into the season and be the same offense, I think it'd be foolish. So there'll be tweaks to a lot of different things, and we'll have plays off of plays. And, maybe it'll be a, different shovel pass out of a different formation. Maybe it'll be something else. But, we have to do what our personnel can do. And, you know, you lose a James Conner, you lose a Nathan Peterman that was very experienced in playing with the Buffalo Bills now. Those are all things you have to keep in mind of what they can do. So we're going to do what our personnel can do.
Coach, to your left, first row, right in the middle.
Eric Slaby, skyboat.com. 2 of your first 3 opponents are against Penn State and Oklahoma State. Can you speak about how difficult it is to prepare for both of those teams, both offensively and defensively?
Yeah, you know, I think, you know, preparation, Eric, is important in every game we go into. And, you know, you got a back-to-back, you know, team at like Penn State and then Oklahoma State the next week. You know, preparations, you know, is everything. Now, again, you know, this is, you know, the ACC. We understand that neither one of those games will impact being down here in Charlotte on December 2nd, and that's really the goal. But those are 2 good football teams with 2 of the top quarterbacks in the country. Both of them could be top 10 picks in a year. You know, Mason Rudolph a year ago, you know, with the Washington kid, and you know, you're talking about great talent. So those are 2 great challenges. We'll embrace both of them one at a time, and we'll start off with Youngstown State.
Other questions from the floor for Coach? To our left, just by the exit sign, Coach, hard left.
Hard left, yes, sir.
Yes, Coach. Mark Miller, Sports View Radio and the Pennsylvania Sports Network. Last year, with big wins over the national champions and the Big Ten champions, and really every game you were, even the games that you lost, you were only a touchdown or less from turning that game into a win except the one. How much does that carry over into the upcoming season where you guys, you know that if you stick to your game plan, limit the mistakes, you got a chance no matter who you're playing week in and week out?
You know, I think, again, it's a different team. I think really in my first 2 years here at Pitt, it's been that same way, you know, in every game. We're going to have a chance to win every game. We're going to be in every game. We got to do the little things at the end to win those games. Because, you know, whether you get beat by 50 or you get beat by 1, it really doesn't matter. It's a big L. You know, I think the carryover, you know, I think our kids have confidence in who they are. And I think they have confidence in our football coaches. So I think that's the key. There is a trust between the coaches and the players in our program. They trust the coaches. They're going to take coaching. They're going to play tough. And I think that's the key. So there is that carryover. They know, okay, as they line up in that locker room before the game or, you know, on a Tuesday, you know, practice during the season, that they're getting a coaching staff that's going to give them the best possible plan to execute for the Saturday. They believe. And I think it all starts with belief. If they believe, then we got a chance to be successful. And I think belief is what our kids have right now.
Coach, I'll ask a question here at the podium. How do you feel about special teams where you are right now?
Well, we got an All-American returner in Quadri Henderson who is electric. I mean, he's a one-play touchdown threat every time he touches the ball, whether it's a kickoff return, a punt return, and obviously, you know, he's in the past run some of those jet sweeps. So, you know, everybody talks a lot about offense or talks about the pluses and minuses of a defense. You know, and special teams really is one of our mainstays. Andre Powell, our special teams coordinator, who was, you know, I think special teams coach of the year a year ago, does an incredible job. And I look at the little things. I mean, you look at offensively and defensively and special teams as well. It's those little things that you do. And going into our 3rd year, you know, and going through spring ball and listening, you know, to the same coaching points, having the same coordinator, the continuity of having that same guy teaching them the fundamentals of our special teams is critical. And I think, again, we can be a threat, you know, in our return game. When you look at our punter, Ryan Winslow is back from a year ago, and we've got a new snapper that we'll be looking for, so there'll be some competition at our long snapping and short snapping positions. And then our field goal kicker, Chris Blewett, you know, I think everybody knows who Chris Blewett is. It was a great kicker for us. He was a guy that kicked, I think, 5 or 6 game winners through his career there. Some big ones here in my career. And we're thankful for what he has done for us in the past. And we're going to move on to Alex Kessman will be our kicker, and a guy that's, you know, we've got to get as many snaps into Heinz Field as we can. So in August, I see our AD is over there somewhere. I thought she was there. It's going to be important for us to get Alex Kessman in Heinz Field kicking field goals in that stadium. And so we're really breaking in a snapper and a kicker, and we know how important those field goal kickers are in those tight games.
Other questions for Coach from out on the floor? Coach, as we wrap up our time, yesterday there was some conversation about blueprints and where you are on schedule. And like building a house in blueprints, there are going to be change orders, there are going to be challenges that you run into. But the house does get built. Where do you think you are in your blueprint? How do you feel going into your third year?
You know, I think every year is different. You inherit, you know, it takes really, 5 years to really get your entire program in place. But I like where our blueprint is. You know, I like building. I think, when you talk about the blueprint, you're talking about the product that you put on the field. You're talking about the facility that you're in and the renovations that we've made in our facility with the help of our chancellor, Pat Gallagher, and obviously our athletic director, Heather Like, and our previous athletic director, Scott Barnes. We've been given the pieces to make a facility better. There's some, right now I walked down the hallways yesterday there, and there's plastic on the floor everywhere, construction. That's part of the blueprint. And recruiting. Which I can't talk a whole lot in specifics about recruiting, but that's part of the blueprint. I think, again, every year we get a little bit closer to making adjustments in our staff, adding some personnel, support staff to make our program one of the top in the ACC.
Back to our left near the exit sign once again.
Yes, sir. Yes, Coach. To follow up on the blueprint question, for years, Western Pennsylvania, one of the best areas in the country for recruiting, Penn State, Ohio State, Notre Dame, other schools used to come in there and take all the top talent. Now that with you being at Pitt, how much is the message changing to these recruits in Western Pennsylvania that if you come to Pitt, you're going to play top competition week in and week out, and you're going to have a chance to beat competition week in and week out? Is that message resonating better and better each month?
I think it is. I think it is. We talk about satellite camps, and probably one of the better compliments you can get is, from a coach in college football. We talked to, Urban Meyer at Ohio State about coming to work their camp in the summer, and he's like, I don't know. I don't know if I want you coming into, Columbus, Ohio. If it was the old Pitt, maybe, but not with what you guys have done there. And to me, that's a compliment. I appreciate, Urban, saying that. We don't play them, so he didn't have to say that. He didn't have to pump me up, pump our tires up. But I think that's the image we have in there. I mean, they've come in and they've had a battle, and it's, it's a priority for us to keep our local kids there. And in this class, you'll see that there's a few more guys that are staying here. And if we don't get them from Western Pennsylvania, we'll go some other places as well. But we're proud to recruit, our backyard, and we want to get the best players to stay home at the University of Pittsburgh. And we've done a great job in the past. I mean, you look at Aaron Donald, he's a pretty good football player that stayed home and, probably one of the best players in the NFL right now, if not the best player, most dominating player. So there's been a lot of great players in the legacy of the University of Pittsburgh. You come walk the hallways there, you talk about tradition. There is no better tradition, and that's, our goal to keep that going. And it starts with players and recruiting our backyard.
Any other questions from the floor for Coach? Pat, thanks a lot. Good luck this season.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Hail to Pitt.